Hey, Alan. This is a response to your comment about the RuneQuest game and the use of the term cults. And forgive me if I'm over responding here, but I think you've gone way down a wrong road. The use of the word cult in the game, which is from that edition of RuneQuest and the famous supplements that came after, just after, called Cults of Prax and Cults of Terror, comes straight out of the way that that word was used in sociology and ethnography and all that kind of stuff prior to about that time of publication, 1980 and 1981. Um, During the late 70s in the US, the term took on a completely different meaning. So let's talk about the term as it was used both in the academic disciplines that Greg Stafford was trained in and his use of the terms in the material for Glorantha and the game. So that meaning falls into this breakdown that if you have religious practice that is intrinsic to a community and integrated with the life of the community and highly local, highly specific to the way these people live, and you can really track its origins, even, or the way that it's practiced, the origins of those practices right there in their lifestyle, then that's a cult. It is absolutely synonymous with the word culture, or rather, it's the root of that word, culture. So you have a culture in that area, and the cult is the overt sort of ritualistic aspect of the culture. So then, if you want to think of it more institutionally, if there's a institutional memory for this and things get written down and there's a doctrine of how it's supposed to be done and a set of procedures that are treated as tradition in a kind of formalized, educated way, um, then the notion here is that you have a sect. And a sect is also often thought of as a part of interconnected or externally organized groups of this practice, so that this local practice or this version that you're looking at here is a sect or a piece, like section or sectile, a detachable, at least recognizable piece or expression of the way it's done across a larger set of units. Um, then finally, there's the idea that this external entity or this larger perspective takes on a very active role in enforcing the way it's done across all the sects. And then you have sects that are in and thought of as insider versions or subsets. And then you have the sects that are out, and they're either called heterodox or heretic, and other such things. So anyway, that's the idea that when you have something like that, a large organization that really kind of has this authoritative role over practices over a wide range, that's a church. So the big thing, is the church, and then there are sects, which, if there's a church, are within it. And then there's also the cult or the culture or the way it's done right here. The notion, of course, is that although churches would like you to think otherwise, the cults are actually sort of the beating lifeblood of religion. So that's exactly what cults mean here in the game. They are the religion, they are the culture. And the presumption is that if sects and churches are forming, that we are still interested in and base the magic on and are concerned from kind of a cult eye view of those practices. Some of the religions in the game are no more than cults. They only exist in that form. Others have been absorbed into or are elevated through, war and expansion and stuff into sects and churches of their own. So that's the meaning. And so the whole concept of, well, they belong to a cult. Are they outsiders? No, no, that's exactly the opposite. Being a member of a cult is the ultimate in cultural insiderness and a specific social role that is important, authoritative, respected, or considered special in the culture. So the perversion of the term cult to mean crazy, outsider, heterodox, um, everything that we think of when we use the word cult in ordinary conversation. All of that is a very recent artifact. Academics for years have tried to reverse this, so there they are in their first year, sociology classes, trying to convince the students that that's not what a cult is. It doesn't work. That particular um, vocabulary item, walked off and has never returned, and it's not going to, I assume. That's why when the books were refurbished and reissued by Avalon Hill, they were renamed from Cults of Prax and Lore and Cults of Terror. They were renamed Gods of Glorantha and Lords of Terror. And to my knowledge, the term cult, I'm not sure it has ever returned to the rulebooks. Someone will have to tell me about that, but that's the situation. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope that kind of clears up that entire terminology. I'm definitely using it in the original term as it was expressed as well in the texts for the game.